Nobody expected Aaron Pierre to be the one who ended it. For months, the narrative had been built around the idea that he was the steady one, the grounded one, the man who didn't rush love, who didn't play with hearts, who didn't open up unless he meant it. When he spoke about romance in past interviews, there was always a hesitation there. Not fear, but caution. He openly described himself as an introvert, someone who, despite choosing a public career as an actor and artist, remained somewhat of a recluse, preferring to receive attention and success in the comfort of his own space. He made it clear that once he let someone in, it wasn't casual, temporary, or surface level. So when he walked away from Teyana Taylor, people assumed there had to be something messy underneath it. But there wasn't, and that absence of chaos is what made it hurt more. Reactions to his explanation were mixed. Some struggled to fully absorb it, others tried to laugh it off, even deflecting with humor about his striking presence and undeniable charm. But when Aaron finally addressed the breakup directly, his tone was striking. He didn't sound angry, betrayed, or defensive. He sounded like a man who had wrestled with the truth privately for a long time before speaking it out loud. His explanation came down to 2 words: timing. Clean, calm, almost too simple, yet heavier than any cheating rumor could ever be. Because timing isn't something you can fix with an apology, negotiate through, argue with, or outlove. The public reaction only amplified the shock. Many admitted that when it comes to relationships, especially with desirable men, emotions can cloud judgment, and the news of their split during the holidays caught nearly everyone off guard. They had been seen as a striking, almost perfect pairing, one of those couples that felt both natural and aspirational. To understand why timing landed the way it did, you have to go back to the beginning, before any official confirmation, when the world first started noticing them. It didn't begin with a red carpet debut, but with proximity. A shared space, a gala, a room full of industry names where 2 people seemed to orbit each other just a little too comfortably to be coincidence. The photos from that night carried a subtle electricity, not dramatic or staged, but charged in a quiet way, as if they were tuned to the same frequency. Then came the Vanity Fair Oscar After Party, a space where in Hollywood, presence alone communicates meaning. Couples don't need to arrive together. Body language does the talking. A glance across the room, a lingering laugh, standing just close enough to suggest something without confirming it. The internet didn't need an announcement. It already knew. When visuals like the escape room video surfaced, any remaining doubt disappeared. Their chemistry didn't look rehearsed or performative. It felt unguarded, weighty, real. At the same time, public commentary added its own layer, some joking that Aaron's striking looks inevitably attracted attention from all directions, reinforcing the idea that being with someone like him came with constant external pressure. Still, their connection deepened publicly. When Teyana posted an Oscar night carousel with the caption, "No gray area," it felt intentional and clear. When Aaron responded to her birthday with warmth, and she replied with a softness that felt genuine rather than curated, their soft launch had already become undeniable. She even referred to him as her apple pie, a phrase those close to her associated with comfort, stability, and emotional safety, something deeply meaningful given her past experiences with public relationships. From Aaron's perspective, his admiration for her carried a sense of reverence, steady, grounded, and sincere rather than flashy or ego-driven. For a moment, their connection felt rare. 2 magnetic, ascending artists who understood the pressures of public life without needing to over-explain it. But then something shifted. Not explosively, but gradually. The red carpet appearances slowed, the subtle warmth on social media faded, and the small digital interactions, likes, tags, reposts, began to disappear with noticeable precision. Fans noticed the silence before headlines did. It felt like a sudden transition from daily warmth to absence. When confirmation finally came that they had gone their separate ways, it was delivered in a flat, sterile tone that revealed nothing about what had actually happened. Speculation filled the gap, as it always does, because Hollywood breakups typically come with clear narratives: infidelity, ego, jealousy, scandal. This one had none. When Aaron spoke, he didn't hint at drama, betrayal, or incompatibility. He said they were moving too fast, and looking at their trajectories, it was difficult to argue. Teyana's career was accelerating rapidly, marked by award buzz, international appearances, and recognition from industry heavyweights. She wasn't just succeeding, she was entering an entirely new level of visibility. At the same time, Aaron was navigating his own rise. Major projects, franchise-level commitments, global press cycles, and roles that demanded both time and emotional investment. This wasn't simply a busy couple struggling to make time for dinner. It was two lives expanding at the same speed in different directions. Their reality became airport reunions instead of shared mornings, brief overlaps in the same city followed by immediate departures, and constant transitions across time zones. Over time, that pattern didn't just strain the relationship, it hollowed it out. Aaron admitted there were moments he felt overshadowed, not with resentment or insecurity, but with awareness. Standing beside Teyana during a period when she was finally receiving long-deserved recognition meant sharing space with an undeniable force. When both partners are equally ambitious and unwilling to shrink themselves, balance becomes fragile. It isn't about fault, it's about structure. Relationships need more than feeling. They need space. Space to be ordinary, unglamorous, and grounded outside of public moments. Without that, even strong connections struggle to stabilize. Eventually, the unspoken question surfaced. Is this sustainable? Aaron answered it quietly. What ended wasn't a relationship that exploded. It was one that ran out of space. And that's what makes it more complex. Beneath the romantic imagery and cinematic perception was a simple reality. Two lives expanding faster than their relationship could keep up. That kind of pressure doesn't create sudden collapse. It stretches things thin until something gives. When Aaron said it was timing, he wasn't offering a cliché. He was describing a structural issue. When two careers rise simultaneously on a global scale, decisions become logistical rather than emotional, and logistics are rarely romantic. Teyana's momentum represented years of delayed recognition finally arriving all at once, bringing relentless schedules and demands. At the same time, Aaron's path required discipline, focus, and emotional containment. In that environment, the relationship became something squeezed into the margins, and love rarely survives there for long. What makes this breakup different is that neither of them appears to have fallen out of love. The decision wasn't fueled by anger, but by the realization that wanting something to work isn't the same as having the capacity for it to work. That distinction removes blame, making the grief more abstract. There's no villain, only the loss of a future that no longer fits reality. Even Aaron's acknowledgement of feeling overshadowed reflects nuance rather than conflict, highlighting how imbalance can emerge even in healthy relationships during periods of rapid change. There's also the psychological weight of maintaining intimacy under constant public scrutiny, where every interaction is analyzed and every absence questioned. Sustaining something private in that environment requires time and insulation, two things their lives couldn't provide. While observers might argue that successful people should make it work, resources can't create time, and time was exactly what their careers consumed. Their silence after the breakup felt deliberate, almost protective, an effort to preserve something meaningful rather than let it become spectacle. Teyana's continued grace, and Aaron's thoughtful, reflective language suggest not detachment, but respect. Both seem aware that forcing the relationship to survive under those conditions could have turned something meaningful into something resentful. Sometimes the most painful expression of love is choosing not to let that happen. The idea that their relationship was purely strategic falls apart under closer examination. Their unscripted warmth, subtle gestures, and visible ease with one another suggested something genuine. If anything, the machinery of fame amplified something real and kept spinning even as the connection itself began to strain. And when that machine continues, while the people within it grow exhausted, stepping back becomes the healthiest choice. What makes the timing explanation difficult is that it leaves the door slightly open. Timing can change, circumstances can shift, and paths can realign. That lingering possibility is why the story feels unfinished, but both seem to understand that revisiting it without real change would only recreate the same outcome. This isn't a story about scandal. It's about two people who shared something real within a limited window and respected it enough not to let it deteriorate. The tragedy is that nothing was broken, yet it still ended. It feels less like a breakup and more like a surrender to circumstances beyond their control. And even mutual, mature surrender leaves a mark. In the end, what Aaron revealed wasn't just that the timing was wrong, but that he chose to preserve what they had, rather than watch